Welcome to another episode of the Reboot Chronicles, a no-holds-barred forum with global leaders, authors, entrepreneurs, and CEOs about how organizations stay focused on growth and innovation in unprecedented times. I'm your host, Dean Tobias, coming to you live from Reviv's North American headquarters in Chicago, and we would like to thank you for joining us from around the globe today. I'd like to welcome Christopher Gavigan, the founder of Honest Company, which went public this year. And now he's the CEO and founder of Prima, which is a CBD products brand we're going to hear about. He's a champion of human health, social entrepreneurship, and author of a best-selling book that I like called Healthy Child, Healthy World. Christopher, congratulations on the IPO.
Thank you, Dean. I appreciate it. It's been a wild ride, almost a decade.
And you guys were there the long time. You were one of the early brands.
Yeah, I mean, subscription commerce, purpose-driven, natural, healthy, clean, non-toxic lifestyle. So yeah, it was certainly a pioneer brand.
Beautiful. Let's jump into that later, because I really want to hear about your, that really was, when you were younger and you were just having children, and I want to hear how that kind of like formed you a little bit and made you ready to be more of a serial entrepreneur. So let's start with the with the current venture, Prima. So health, beauty, and wellness, with what Reviv does in the industry is a really hot category now, but I really am curious, what was the genesis for you around CBD? Why did you think that was the thing to go do next?
It's a really interesting time as we're watching the world of consumables and health and wellness, health and well-being, and how citizen doctors, which we all are looking to up-level and optimize our lives. And they're looking across their consumer landscape, what goes in, on, and around them, and they're trying to find the things that optimize them, that make them feel better and more at peak in their performance, focus, clarity, being more in tune with their mental acuity, mood enhancement, mindset, all of that.
Right.
And it was in 2009, I sit on the board of Mount Sinai's Children's Environmental Health Division, and I heard about cannabinoids. I was like, what? Cannabinoids? There's these molecules, or 120 of them. They come from cannabis, which is illegal and biased and stigmatized and regulated by the DEA. How is it possible? What are we learning about them? And there are two ways to manage pain and inflammatory response in the body: cannabinoids and opioids. That's it. Those are the two active molecules. We actually natively make cannabinoids in our own bodies. You, me, every mammal does. Mom passes cannabinoids on through her breast milk to her baby. And these are very therapeutic and functional in nature.
Like at a high level, when someone says, you're producing good things for your body, is that where it's coming from? Endorphins is usually the name that's thrown out.
Yeah, it's connected to hormone function and neurobiology. And it's a really interesting dynamic body system that we've just recently discovered in the last 25 years that 95% of all doctors don't know about, this endocannabinoid system. Right. So it's essentially a stress management system. It's a tool to bring you out of stress. When the body's in extreme states of stress, every day, chronic doom scrolling, cult of busy, we're all under some stress. Stress can be good, but also extreme stress and chronic everyday stress can really shut down body systems. So I heard about this. I was like, this is crazy. This is prior to me launching the Honest Company in incubation and launching in 2012. So I sidelined it, and there needed to be some maturity around accountability and sourcing and transparency and whatnot. And the first rush of people into the CBD and cannabinoid space was the folks from cannabis or marijuana, right? So hooligans and charlatans and cowboys, and it was the green rush.
I know some of these people, yes.
There you go. And
do you mind backing up on that a little bit? I was going to bring this up later, but difference between marijuana, cannabis, and hemp. Don't want to get too geeky here, but I'm sure some people are wondering right now.
Cannabis is the plant that both marijuana and hemp fall under. Marijuana has the high level of one cannabinoid, THC. That's the psychoactive or intoxifying one. Mm-hmm. And then hemp has none of the THC. It has all of the other cannabinoids. So there are 120 cannabinoids. CBD is one, THC is one. THC gets you high. Hemp does not get you high. There's no psychoactivity. And so it's Prima. The wink in the name was leveraging this idea of female cousin. So hemp is the sober botanical female cousin of marijuana.
Sober botanical, I like it.
Yeah,
and if I'm walking through the forest and come up on a patch, how do I know the difference between the two?
Very hard to tell. Very hard to tell.
I
So,
probably used the
all
wrong
these,
stuff at
all
one point
these
in my
farmers,
life.
yeah, all these farmers that grow hemp, they put up signs. This is not marijuana because they don't want people ripping
Please
it
don't
up.
steal it.
Yeah,
Oh
don't steal.
gosh.
So it's a really fascinating plant. I mean, the Commonwealth of Virginia mandated people to grow hemp because it's so the multitudes of usage throughout history, and the really the intelligence of this plant is remarkable. Rope, the Declaration of Independence was printed on it. It's a really over the course of history of humanity, it's been broadly used. It's only in the last 100 years it's been gone under this fear state of global prohibition, but we're at this momentum that's really exciting because you've got fear-based prohibition dropping, you've got this global cannabis industry growing, both THC and hemp, or marijuana and hemp, and it's fueled by facts, it's fueled by market data, it's fueled by medical research, it's fueled by consumer patient experiences. It's really a powerful industry. And so I was looking at it in 17, 18, when I was passing the baton over to a new executive team at the Honest Company, I was saying, God, I need to understand why. And that was a very stressful time. I have 4 children. I'm, running and involved in the operations and day-to-day management of a global brand, over $300 million top line business. And I was like, God, my body is not in a great place. I'm in my mid 40s, and I'm like, this is not working for me. So when I brought and understood and really sourced best in quality cannabinoids, CBD is one of them, I really felt a big shift, both in my skin, both in my body's inflammatory response, both in my sleep cycles. I mean, I felt transformed. And then I started giving to my kids, and I was like, this is an amazing product. And we all running very deficient in this molecule. So I wanted to bring what I know how to do, best in class research and trust, medicine and a science first approach in the formulation. I wanted to bring a purpose and a mission to a brand that was really there as a therapeutic functional tool for people,
right?
And being in service. And I wanted to do it in a way, in a fashion that was addressing things that I didn't see addressing: clean, safe, pure, potent, female-oriented, high-end or premium and accessible premium. All these things, when you're thinking about brand building, positioning, I wasn't seeing. And so, as you know, I wanted to be out there. I wanted to step out of the gray market economy, bring an institutional level of sophistication and trust to the marketplace that didn't have much, again, nascent, early stage. And I really wanted to demonstrate a level of capability and superiority when it comes to the best in class product. Because as you know, consumer marketplace, CPG, you can get anything to buy anyone to get someone, you can get them to buy anything once, right? Great marketing, beautiful colorway, great name. But if it's not working, they won't come back.
It's over, right?
Right. So the golden ticket is repeat. So, and if you can get these therapeutic molecules, you can transform people's bodies, their cellular nature, then they're going to, I'm feeling better. I'm sleeping better. I'm in better mood. I'm clearer. I'm just feeling better in my body. They're going to really connect. And so, Prima for me is this next stage and a beautiful culmination when it comes to the science of self-care. Yes, but really the science of stress relief. And that's where I really feel like the massive open gap that we're all seeing. And I mean, thank you, COVID, putting monstrous stress on our doorstep. Everyone's got it in your body and you got it in your life. How are you managing?
And it seems like you've scaled it pretty well. You're in a lot of retail channels now. More to go. You're doing direct to consumer, I assume. How much of the company is kind of science product based versus marketing distribution? We need to scale the hell out of this thing. Where are you right now?
We've spent a ton of money. I mean, on the sourcing, documentation, regulatory, legal, compliance, claim substantiation. I mean, at the benchtop work, really optimizing our formulas to be bioavailable for the body, that actually body can take it in. A lot of the market is CBD tinctures. That's a joke. The body doesn't absorb as much as you think through your oral mucosal, and people aren't swishing the oil around in their mouth for 3 to 5 minutes. That's a terrible experience.
Right.
So we have soft gels, we've got topicals and transdermal applications, and we've wrapped it in this lipid bilayer that actually is bypassing the gut and the liver to really be absorbed into the body. So people will try, oh, I tried CBD and it didn't work for me. Well,
it's easier on the body. It doesn't get absorbed in the wrong places.
Yeah. And well, you didn't try Prima because actually when people were like, wow, I felt it. I really had a results oriented experience. And that's, you should feel it, right? Yep. These are powerful molecules when packaged correctly, have a really strong trigger on cellular biology.
I also like that you've been pushing, or it's part of your DNA, I should say, transparency, but also education. I think you have a magazine, and because there is an educational component to this. You mentioned it's not legal everywhere, and there's so much disinformation, and there's always people like peddling CBD stuff now. I think I saw one at the barbershop the other day. He's like, do you want to buy some of this? I'm like, from you? No, I might go to Walgreens, but no.
I mean, yeah, there's so much hype, right? And I wanted to bring quality and purpose and transparency and social impact. Yes, but what you wanted to show is innovation and research, and all of our stuff is doctor formulated. And you want to show it in a way, in a fashion that is not rhetoric and not hype and not, again, shadow economy, but is actually really backed by credible science and credible research and medicine. And so it's really, it's not addressing symptoms as much as this body system. And right. So it's a much more holistic philosophy on whole body care. And again, we all, this cellular network, this endocannabinoid system is the largest cellular receptor network inside the entire body. And so it's larger than the central nervous system. It's in our connective tissue, in our organs, in our glands. It's when the body's under stress, this system comes in as the master regulator. It's
fight or flight. Right now I'm exactly. fighting something. Yes.
Exactly.
Hey, I'd love to hear some stories about, starting Honest and that whole cycle you went through and handing it off to another team as a serial next step CEO. I'm usually the guys that step in and, but just love to hear, like, what did you learn from that experience, the good, bad, and the ugly, that's really helped you, take Prima to a faster level of success, I guess?
Yeah, look, I think what the Honest Company we've done, and I'm so passionate and so committed to that brand, and I believe that it is such a great brand in the sense that it was built on these pillars of clarity and standards and a commitment to that end consumer. So really service-oriented and mission-first commentary. And ultimately, as you see time and time again in every brand you're involved in, people matter. And you really need to listen, and you really need to be emotional, and you can't connect to their heads, you need to connect to their hearts. And that in the pass off and in these transition moments, change is the inevitable, right? Especially in large scale businesses and scaling businesses where you're moving swiftly, and those pivots can reimagine the entire trajectory of the company. And
I like to tell people it's already happened. It's not inevitable.
It's already happened, right? So when you've got this ethos of commitment, you need to live and breathe that every day. So you need to slow down every once in a while, just hurry up. And oftentimes in that first 5 years, we didn't slow down enough. And so it was a slog when you get to years 5 and 6, and you've got to reimagine and constrict and change. But as you know, every great business is not built on an idea; it's built on ideals, and people are the fire and the fuel for those ideals. And so connecting and relationship management is always top of mind. My father hammered that into me, and I should have listened to him more clearly. But product and brand aside, the values that company lives and breathes every single day with the people in the four walls of the company are the most powerful and most potent. And so we did a great job. Yes, we stumbled. Yes, we fell, but you pick yourself up and you're going to move on. And I think that brand has done a phenomenal job, as evidenced by the baton pass and the new team and the high caliber, professionalism they're bringing in. It's really,
having been there a dozen times or so, it's like the handoff doesn't always go well. So that's awesome that happened. What shortcuts did you learn for Prima?
Prima, it was overinvest in the operation, the structure of the brand. So again,
that's different.
it's super different. Like overinvest in the legal, the trademark, the bank work, and your bank, especially in this
all the boring stuff. Yes, I
the
love
boring
it.
stuff. It's terrible. It's mind numbing, right? I'm a brand and I'm a brand builder, and I love the consumer interface. But you have the nuts and bolts are in the structure of a brand, in the unit economics of the brand are so critical. And so at Honest, early days, we were fast growth, buying a lot of the growth, fueling a lot of the growth. And for here at Prima, we're being much more patient and fastidious with our growth trajectory. We're really focused on profitability at first ship, especially on the direct to consumer side. Very focused on the meaningful wholesale channel. So we have a great partnership with Sephora and Vitamin Shop and Whole Foods and Nordstrom. So really choosing those strategic retail partners and helping them, if they did step into the space, clear the noise and nonsense out of the space, because as I said, CBD is full of it. And showing them, I mean, for instance, with Sephora, we created a CBD standard, which is a world-class standard that they will only bring brands in. And now there's only 3. They kicked everyone else out, and they were like, okay.
That's what I heard. You gave them the framework because it was so early. It was perfect. So education is important. Standards is important. Transparency is important. We had the CEO of Vitamin Shop on too. That is a great platform, because when people go into the site or the stores, unlike a Sephora or Nordstrom's where they're thinking about shoes and makeup as well, at Vitamin Shop, do you find it a more focused consumer or actually a more selective?
Yes, no, they're focused. Very focused. They go in to buy, right? You step into a Vitamin Shop with a specific need state. Yeah. And you're very goal oriented. Sharon is an amazing CEO. I'm actually sitting on
she's really good.
It's really good. I'm sitting on a panel with her in 2 weeks here in New York City, and really excited about it. And she has been, she does store walks. She was like, Prima just set, and why are we out of why are we out of stock? So she's intimately connected, and what she's doing is she's really modernizing that brand to get away from the tubs of protein powder and really make it a holistic, agnostic male female brand, and really showcase the fact that this is a health and wellness platform. And I find that what they're doing there is really doing a lot of shelf talk and a lot of education at the shelf. So point of sale. So, consumers, 2 feet, 2 seconds, are making choices, and how do you connect with them? And they're doing a ton of work on the education and connection side, which is going to really differentiate them.
It seems like you're well positioned there. Give us an idea of the scale, how many people you have, products, what's going on?
Yeah, so we've got over 15 products right now, and this is 2.5 years in market. Team is just over a dozen, and we're hitting triple-digit growth year over year, so that's exciting.
Back in the startup phase again.
But mindful growth, right? As much as that's exciting, you still need to be very thoughtful and how you platform and what are your manufacturing partners like. And so I have to say, this is, when either, strategics knock or FDA knocks or anyone knocks, I feel incredibly excited and confident and really bullish on what we've built. Because again, this has been a world-class focused operation at day one, and not sacrificing on some of that stuff that is hard to build and change and reimagine. We started out on NetSuite, not QuickBooks Online, digital. So we've done it right from day one, which is exciting.
Enterprise grade. That's some of the big retailers would be proud of you. And I'm sure you're going to end up in many of those soon. Yeah, it seems like you've got a good attitude about scaling. How do you think about? I just did an interview or an article in Forbes about Bracken Darrell, CEO of Logitech, and he always fires himself once a year and comes back in. It's an old trick that we all have tried over the years, but he actually lives it emotionally. And if we were to fire you on this program and then hire you back at the end of it, and you wanted to come in and reboot, Prima, even though it's your baby, what do you see ahead for the next 2 years? What would you really like to do to just bust through this market and take over?
It's a great question. I think.
Sorry, takeover is my goal. It might not be your goal. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I mean, look, I believe we are the best in class and the leader in the space thus far. Yep. Not by size, but by values and principles and quality. And I would say that I would focus some time, attention, and effort at the advocacy and legislative level right now. Right now, CBD is a bit in purgatory. You've got congressional members and FDA and FTC doing. FDA and FTC are a police force, right? They're not the guardian at the gate, but Congress needs to give them instructions and appropriately guide them here. No one's ever died from a cannabinoid overdose ever in the history of humanity. No one. So THC and CBD and all the others. So no one's dying. So there's no like urgency, but I would really work to inform and demonstrate that, hey, here's some experts in the space. They're doing it correctly. They're open book on when it comes to documentation and all of the necessary traceability and accountability that you would expect to see.
Exactly.
And I really want to demonstrate the fact that this is, and really show them, here's some clinical results that we've done. Here's how it's impacting the body. Here are the phenomenal consumer and client and patient commentary and experiences, and demonstrate the fact that this is an industry that's not going away. It is a global industry on the cannabinoid side. These molecules really matter to humanity when it comes to inflammatory response and sleep response and pain management and skin health and overall body functionality. I know a ton of large scale CPG. I know, state governments and, folks just to the South are really excited about these molecules. And I know that, large scale pharma is doing a ton of research and billions of dollars of clinicals on this now.
Yeah, they like to keep it. They like to keep it quiet, though. I've noticed, but yeah,
they do. But it's only a matter of time that this breaks open. And I would really encourage them, because right now you've got large scale retailers like Target, and you've got platforms and platforms like Google and CVS. Platforms like Google and Facebook that have ostensibly, and even Amazon, have shut down and shut off to cannabinoids and CBD because they don't have federal legalization or approval yet. It's directional, but it's not written in the books. And so that shuts down 90% of your optionality when it comes to direct and online marketing. So I would do the work there.
So that makes sense. I'm envisioning you being on Capitol Hill with senators. It's almost like Facebook. They don't know what questions to ask, though. They're just, if I asked them the difference between marijuana or hemp or cannabis or showed them pictures, they would not pass the test. And it's not to fault them, but it's just like, then get out of the way and let us tell you some things about what. So I've noticed that a lot of the big brands stay out of it because of that. A lot of big brands and retailers also are kind of staying away from personalization. Do you see that as a future track for you?
Yeah, I mean, that commentary around precision medicine and personalization is important, because everyone, in a world of optionality and access, consumers are rendered incapable of making decisions, right? How do I know this brand? If brands are willy-nilly and just throwing out marketing terms, how do I really know and can trust? Number one, what I do, and any brand that I go to, is I double click into the About Us. If I can't see a human's face and understand their background and understand why they're there, like, take out, leave, please, especially when you're putting things in your body and on your body and into your loved ones. Like, don't do it. And then number two, for us, we've actually just launched a program just most recently that really caters to that idea of personalization on one-on-one in a consultation format. So sitting down and having phone calls or Zooms with our clients and our consumers and said, hey, let's have a conversation. What are your questions? What are your goals? What are your needs? What does your body feel like? And really just sitting down one-on-one. I can't tell you. So I do 5 up, 5 down, 5 new every week. And I call our customers, and those customers, number one, like most recently, and probably in the last year, I get 6-7 times out of 10 voicemail, but I'll leave a voicemail saying, hey, this is Christopher Gavigan. Here's my cell phone number. Give me a call. I'm here for you. But when I do connect and when I do reach through, people are just astounded that someone's taking the time to listen. But that, though, again, it's the 1,000 true fans model, right? Give me a minimal viable audience. Let's take the time. Let's do the work. Let's be slow and patient. This thing will pop over time, and just be pristine and a guardian and a steward of the trust mantle and baton that you hold, that is so precious, right? If you were to put trust to your bottom line, it'd be priceless. That's all we
And
have.
many companies try, but it's also theater, and many of them you can't fake it. I like what you said, because it is the true sense of ethnography, not so much the CEO calling a customer or a consumer in this case. I mean, just calling your channel partner be enough for me, but actually getting true input and ethnography, because you don't know what the future of this industry is going to be, and you could invent the next platform or delivery mechanism or whatever. If you look at the drinking spirits business, the whole mixing of this meets this, cannabis, CBD is playing a part in that as well. There's so many avenues. Why would you limit yourself at this point?
It's so true. And those conversations people feel the passion, they know the obsession, they know the science forward approach, and they can hear it. And they know that he just shared his cell phone, I can text and call him anytime. Typically doesn't happen.
And the testimonials are personal and riveting, usually. I mean, Kevin Costner came out the other day and slammed the pharmaceuticals, because it's like, hey, this stuff has been saving me. I think he's got his own. I think he's got his own brand, I think, though.
Yeah.
So,
but you're absolutely
self-serving
right.
there.
It is a consumer education first mentality, and we need to do the job at changing hearts and minds, and really going slow, and really having the rigor around that trust mantle, as I said, and really demonstrating that aspirational education is so important to any industry, but especially this one, because it is a healthcare industry, right?
Yep.
And you really need to get intimate and personal with people.
And it's global, and some countries are going to behave quicker with you than the United States does. So be it.
Yes.
Hey, really want to thank you for joining us, Christopher. I think one of the things people really love to know is just some good reboot advice for you from you. Lessons learned, but just what's been one of the biggest personal or business challenges for you that probably integrated, that you really faced in your life, but you kind of overcame it, and it shaped you and helped you get on this entrepreneurial, road track that you've been on.
I've been a huge champ. I'm trying to think about this, and I've thought about this for a while. I've never written about it, but a lot of the world around balancing the masculine and feminine in the workforce is an important conversation. It's erupting and having its time and place. Mm-hmm. But what are those attributes that both masculine and feminine people, but we both have them in our demonstration of leadership and expression and communication. But there's oftentimes that I'm not the chief executive officer, I'm the chief empathy officer. And that empathy and that humility and that emotion sometimes gets to be too much in a workforce. But when you take the time to address it, and when you take the time, especially, look, people are going through physical, emotional challenges. These molecules help with that. They help with mood. They help with your aches and pains. That's emotional. And so for both our people and for both our consumers. And I would say that it was during my time at the Honest Company that I always felt that you needed to be unparalleled and unapologetic on your standards around science and purity and clean and safe and like the best in class product. And yes, that softer stuff would take care of itself because it was there with a level of passion and commitment. But I think I've flipped that on its head, and I have to be a people first leader. And that's the mantle I need to do. And I need to be softer, and I need to be slower, and I need to have a sense of depth of relationship with our people. I mean, even at Honest, when we got to be bigger, one of my goals was to know everyone's name, right? Someone's name in a large organization, if you say their name, how are you? Very hard. But your name is kind of like the doorknob to your soul, really, and your heart.
So when you were younger, were you just too much of a hard charger, get out of my way kind of guy, and not as empathetic? And I mean, you're a very thoughtful leader right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always had that relationship mentality, but I've gotten to be even softer and slower and more willing to be, I would say more balanced in my feminine as well as my masculine, or my hard charging as well as more emotionally
Passion.
balanced. And again,
Sure.
they're not binary, and they're not, the lovely thing is they're not bad on either side. They're both necessary in order to be effective and in order to move through problems and get through strategic decision answers and points. But I feel like becoming the most holistic leader requires that I get softer and I get a bit more accepting of that that beautiful and relationship-based mentality
and balance. Yeah, thank you for sharing. It was very honest, to quote a term, and most CEOs would not kind of figure that out themselves. It almost has to be pointed out. So I want to thank you for that, and it's clearly paying off in your latter years, as I should say, your mid years. You've been listening to Christopher Gavigan, who's the CEO of Prima. Thanks for joining us today. This is Dean Tobias with the Reboot Chronicles, and we will see you soon.
Thanks so much.